Hey there again, Valle. Yeah, I'm making a second video because I felt guilty, a little guilty after my first one. Because I brought up all these things that Valle needs, and the solution I presented to y'all was joining the Lions Club where we could apply for grants. And I don't think that's the best route. So I don't have any notes right now, so what I say may just come out scattered and messy, and if so, I'll have to correct it later. And the reason I didn't make notes is because sometimes stuff just comes out better spontaneously than if I try to order it all in notes. As y'all are probably aware, a year ago, the Arizona legislature introduced a bill that would allow Arizona to make its own transactional currency based on its own bullion reserves. It passed the Senate. It died in the House in June. Now, that tells me that Arizona is ready. Arizona is thinking ahead. Arizona sees the cliff that the economy in the United States is teetering over. Now, it just so happens that I visited the Grand Canyon for the very first time just a few weeks after that, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks after it died. I think it died on the 26th of June, and Joe and I went to the Grand Canyon in July. I'd never seen the Grand Canyon before. We got smoked out because there was a fire. We weren't even able to spend the night at our camp. We made camp and ended up leaving because of the smoke. But I went back. And then several weeks later, I went back again. And I recognized some issues that I'm not going to expound on in this recording because you may or may not be aware of them. But there were issues there that needed to be resolved by someone who could legally and lawfully resolve them. And if that resolve could be had, it could make the difference for Arizona in being able to produce its own transactional currency based on its own reserves. Now, at no time when I was visiting the Grand Canyon was I aware of anything that Arizona was doing, legislature-wise. I fell in love with the place, specifically with Valle. But I had been vacationing in Williams a few times over the years and loved Williams too. Why? Because I love cowboy stuff. I figured that was just why. That wasn't the only reason why. The people. I liked the people. And I like the people now. I love the people now. And I love the people I've met at Valle now. And I love the people I've met at the Grand Canyon now. Grand Canyon Village in Tucson. I stayed in Tucson. What I'm getting at is that in 2016, I developed a new economy called the Heirship Economy. It was based on some law work that I did over the course of 2013 through 2016. And the requirement for people participating in the Heirship Economy is that they align with natural law, which you can read about at Court of Ages, spelled just like it sounds, Court of Ages.weebly, WEEBLY.com. Courtofages.weebly.com. Click on law. You can read it. It is a codified version of natural law. It is what is observed in nature, codified in a way that could be enforced. So the economy I developed is based on that. And I made it backed by my physical form, which at the time I understood as just this body. But after visiting the Grand Canyon, I understand it as the earth in whole and the Grand Canyon specifically. The reason I'm bringing this up is because at no time in history, at no time since I developed the Heirship Economy, have I seen a legal and lawful way to make it available to those who choose it. It is not, natural law is not a control system. It is a free will choice thing. But I've never seen a legal, lawful path to it until now. So what's happened that I see a legal, lawful path to it? Well, I didn't know about the Arizona legislature until 3 or 4 days ago. I was looking up how many states have their own, bullion reserves and what they're doing with them, and discovered Arizona's on the leading edge of that. So it looks to me like Arizona has the ability to make the heirship economy legal if it chooses, the legislature, if it chooses, in every way. In doing so, it could possibly save the United States, and in doing that, save the world. Now, let me explain that. And a lot of you probably already know this. I'm not an economist. I've never been interested in economics. I've never been interested in the stock exchange. I've never understood all the lingo that they use. Just like the legal system has its own vernacular or nomenclature. Economists have their own vernacular or nomenclature for just common stuff. Like they call it futures trading. A Ponzi scheme, basically, they call futures trading, and it sounds cool. And it's done, even though it's clear that a debt-based financial system is neither moral nor does it align with the U.S. Constitution. But it's done because Congress passed it. There was a loophole that allowed Congress to pass stuff that the framers of the Constitution never intended. And that's what happened in, I forgot when the Federal Reserve was made, early 1900s, 1913, I think. So what's going on right now is that whole Ponzi scheme system is really shaky today because it's based on debt and it's based on confidence. It's a confidence game. And if the people ever lose confidence in it and withdraw participation in certain aspects of it, the whole thing comes down. And so a lot of the marketing and PR that's done in the news is done to scaffold that, hold that up. Because that's the whole basis of how the United States, the people in the United States and the whole world are managed or controlled. And I'm being polite there. So that system has become shaky over the last month in a way that it hadn't before. It's become shaky publicly. It's been shaky before, but now it's shaky publicly because people who have invested in silver futures are unable to cash in because the physical silver is not available. I did some looking. There's a lot of rumors swirling. And so rather than trying to figure out who's telling the truth, I just went to the AI, to the Google AI, and asked it a few questions. I asked, how were the U.S. silver refineries doing at the end of 2025? And it said at the end of 2025, U.S. silver refineries face significant backlogs and strain due to massive demand and constrained capacity, leading to slower processing of scrap silver, reducing advance payments, and a growing physical market squeeze, even as major miners reported production increases. The situation created a refining gridlock, with refineries overwhelmed by the surge in metal and struggling to keep up for demand for processed silver, contrasting sharply with the mining output, which struggled to meet the booming market. So, haven't heard much about that on the news. So then I said, did China stop silver export on New Year's Day 2026? That's today. And it said, yes. China implemented new, stricter licensing for silver exports starting January 1st, 2026, effectively restricting shipments by requiring government approval for a limited number of designated companies, a move that has significantly impacted global silver markets by elevating the metal's strategic importance and impacting supply chains, according to reports from late 2025 and early 2026. So I asked how much of the world's silver exports are from China. And AI said China is a dominant force in the global silver market, controlling a massive portion of refined silver trade, with recent reports indicating they account for roughly 60 to 70% of globally traded refined silver. So as you see, with China no longer exporting, it's 60 to 70% of the world's silver, and U.S. refineries having trouble, and an increased demand for silver due to Samsung's new battery, which we didn't talk about, and an increased demand for electric vehicles, increased demand for solar panels, all of which use silver because it's more conducts electricity better than any other metal. So there's a huge demand for silver and not a whole lot there. So why is the price going down? And that's the question. And that's what's causing the shakiness in the world economy right now. People with silver futures are going, man, I better get the real thing because paper silver isn't going to be worth anything except paper money, fiat money. So when they go to trade in, then they're being told, and I didn't ask the Google AI this is what I've seen in news reports, that people who are trying to trade in their paper silver are being told that because of the London bullion market backlog, because the struggle London is having with silver, they can't fulfill those for so long. So here, why don't you take fiat dollars for it? Some people are saying, well, okay, and taking the fiat dollars. Well, those institutions didn't have the fiat dollars, so they've had to go to the Federal Reserve for a bailout. And this has caused, according to reports that I've read, this has caused the Federal Reserve to go into massive printing in the last 5 days. Massive. As long as people accept the printed money, which is reduced in value because of the massive amounts of it out there right now, which are going to cause prices to go sky high this year, in the next couple months, higher than they already are. But people are going to, and they are, losing confidence in the system. When people lose confidence in the system and no longer participate, and they demand something physical, this whole Ponzi scheme crashes. When people no longer participate, it goes away. And that's what we're teetering on this moment. And that's why I think the heirship economy has a better chance right now of being legalized than ever before in history. In Arizona, unbeknownst to me when I bought my land in Valle, I did not know this, that Arizona was already making moves for a physical currency. I felt like y'all in Valle, probably a lot of you already know all of this, but I felt like I needed to make a report about this so we're all on the same page and we understand what's happening. Do your own research. Validate. Any report that you hear, it seems as though there's a discrepancy between mainstream and independent news on this. And I see that as functioning to hold society together, because if everybody knew the same thing all at once, there could be social unrest. That's why that's what I think the function of the fibbing in the news is right now. I'm just trying to find a positive way to look at it. Okay, that's going to be it for right now. See you next time.